Source is anonymous.
Oh, is it gonna be like Rapunzel?
Barely illuminated the night and brought no warmth at all. People made the darkness just a little bit brighter for all.
Will there be scary stories this time? It's reading time!
It's reading time.
Time for KB to bring out some of those voices.
Yeah, we had some really good stories last time. We had one about Faunus, and then we had one about the Infinite Man, and that really one was pretty ouch, like in the fields and stuff too. And we also had the one with the two brothers as well, and apparently me like bumping the book over. But yeah, we really only have about this much left, so we're most definitely gonna finish it this time around, and then once we get the next volume of Villainess, we'll be back to Villainous reading, which I'm looking forward to that. So this one is called The Girl in the Tower.
Ooh.
Source is anonymous.
Oh, is it gonna be like Rapunzel?
I don't know, it could
We'll
be.
find
I mean,
out.
it kind of looks like it could be if it wanted to be.
Beautiful! It's so pretty. Does it look like watercolor?
Yeah, it does.
I think it does.
I also urge everyone to consider this story's morale and take it to heart as I have.
Oh,
Do
look
what you can for others
the little
because
doodle.
you are able. Ooh,
Aww, look.
Yeah, it's
Show
very...
it.
I think I did show it, but
Show this part too, with attention to this part. It's so cute. Oh, yeah.
Long ago, or a long, long time ago, in a faraway land there lived a cruel lord and his beautiful daughter.
Oh.
The lord had once been a good man, blessed by the gods with strength, bravery, charm, and powerful magic. In his youth he had traveled to Remant in search of adventure, fame, fortune, and love. He saved many people, slew many monster species, and brought back many wicked men to justice. When he rescued a princess from a brutish gang of kidnappers, he gained everything he had ever desired. A wife, a castle, and land, and recognition across the kingdom as a mighty hero. What more could a man want? Just one thing, a son, an heir. When his wife became pregnant, the whole castle rejoiced. But soon after the lord's fortune reversed, his beloved fell ill and gave birth to a baby girl. And lost her own life in the process.
Oh, I thought that's where that was going.
The lord locked his daughter in the highest tower of the castle and retreated to his chambers to grieve. Only he and the girl's nanny were allowed in or out of the tower room on the punishment of death. Whoa! Many weeks passed before the lord visited his baby girl for the first time. He refused to hold her, no matter how much the nanny encouraged or even begged him to. Over the years, his daily visits grew shorter. Then they became visits 2 or 3 times a week. By his daughter's 11th birthday, he was visiting only once a week. Why must I stay in this tower? The girl would ask him. I am protecting you from anything or anyone that might harm you. You are the most precious thing in the world to me. I could not bear to lose you. He brought her food and presents, dresses and hairpins, brushes and dolls, but nothing that she could use against him or take her own life. Single tall windows were enchanted so she could see out, but not extend even a hand over the sill, and she assumed no one could enter the room through it either. However, when she attempted to toss out her father's gifts, she discovered something interesting. Inanimate objects could pass through the magical barrier.
Oh, could her hair?
Right? Since the girl could not leave the tower, her nanny brought the outside world to her. She taught the girl to read and stole books from her from the castle library. The girl lived hundreds of lives through other people's stories, and she harbored the impossible dream of venturing beyond the tower one day.
I kind of want to live in a tower and read books all day. My fellow introverts, let me know if that's your dream life. Live in a tower, read books.
Beyond the tower one day, finding true love and becoming a kind and generous queen with her own castle and daughters. Meanwhile, miserable and alone, the lord's sorrow gradually twisted into resentment. He raged against the unfairness of the gods and took out his anger on his staff. He became obsessed with increasing his wealth, as if money could replace the love of his life, increasing land taxes on the tenants and cutting his staff's wages. Paranoid about losing all he cherished, he dismissed half his servants and replaced them with trained soldiers to protect his riches and defend his castle. By the girl's 16th birthday, the king visited only once a month, whenever the whole moon was visible from her tower window. This was your mother's favorite place in the castle, he told the girl. She loved gazing out the window. And it's now my prison, the girl said. You want my prisoner? You're my daughter. Then let me go, she begged. I cannot. Someone would abduct you and demand a ransom, the lord said. Or worse. But the girl realized that the lord did not love her as a parents love children. Rather, he thought of her as just one of his treasures, to be jealously hoarded like his gold and jewels. She decided that she had to escape, and she desired to punish her father for his cruelty.
Ugh.
She was not strong enough to fight her way out of the tower, but she was smart. She struck a plan.
Saw that reading.
Yep. Thank you for the beautiful necklace and rings, Father, she told him. You give me everything I could ever want, except, what is it? Then, what else would, wait, the knight. Oh, I think it's supposed to be the father.
I'm gonna turn this down a little.
Oh, yeah. Yeah, because, like, kind of...
Oops, I turned it up. Okay, I was getting it. There we go. There we go. Okay. We're good.
What is it? What else would make you happy, my dear? Freedom, she thought. But she bit back the word for the kinds of talks that made him angry and violent. Pens and paper, she said. I love reading, and I would like to try writing stories of my own. He saw no harm in her request and brought her pens and paper. Perhaps, when I visit you, you will read your stories to me, the Lord said. The girl used the materials he gave her to record her own story with an open and ending promise. We got a door.
Ooh, a door.
That whoever defeated the Lord and freed her from the tower would inherit the castle and all of the riches within. She handwrote hundreds of copies of her story during the days and tossed the pages from her window at night. Caught by the wind, they scattered far and wide throughout the kingdom. News of the girl's terrible predicament spread across the land. Soon, warriors began arriving to challenge the Lord in battle. His worst nightmare was coming true. Although he had turned evil and miserably, he was still a skilled fighter with strong magic. Many bold warriors perished before his soldiers on the long brick road to the castle's entrance. Those who fought their way inside ultimately faced the Lord at the base of his tower, and none of them could defeat him. Until one day, a new challenger arrived, a legendary hero, armed with potent magic of his own. The brave man bested the evil Lord in combat. He seized the tower key from around the fallen man's neck and ran up the stairs. When he threw open the door, the girl was astonished. She rose and smiled at her savior. At last she was free, from the tower at least. The girl and the hero fought side by side against the Lord's soldiers, who were no match for their combined magic. Together they escaped the castle. This castle and all these lands are now yours, she told the hero. The hero shook his head. I only came to a right and terrible wrong and strike down an evil tyrant.
Yeah.
All you needed was a little help, but in the end you freed yourself.
Oh, I love that.
The girl was surprised to have met a hero right from the pages of a fairy tale.
Yeah.
The hero was surprised to meet a smart, powerful girl who shared his curiosity about this world and strong sense of justice.
Yeah.
Neither was eager to go their separate ways. Where shall we go now? The girl asked. The hero offered his hand. Wherever you'd like.
Oh,
The two fell deeply in love, planned adventures around the world, and lived happily ever after.
Oh, that's so great. It had a happy ending.
Actually, I'm not going to spoil it because I'm going to get you to watch RWBY. This comes to life in the show.
Oh.
So you will at some point see it.
Oh.
And that's all I will say.
Okay.
Ozpin's notes. The Girl in the Tower is unique among fairy tales, in that it is the only one which the protagonist is credited with penning their own story. The girl essentially writes herself out of danger. It is steeped in an awareness of nature of fairy tales, and in a sense its own status as one of them. As a metafiction, this tale, more than any in his other collections, demonstrates the power of stories to create reality and shape our destinies.
Yeah.
And the subtle influence storytellers have on their audience. This is how propaganda works, of course. Arguably, even fables were originally told for purpose, to either overt or hidden. Some were designed to communicate with a moral lesson or instruct children on how to behave, while others were meant as warnings to persuade people into believing certain things. The Girl in the Tower shared a version of her story intended to elicit sympathy and motivate people to come to her aid. But in the process, she also doomed many warriors to die in the attempt.
That's true.
Her story did not include the whole truth, and how much of it might have been false. One must always be prepared to think about questions of everything they read or hear, especially if they are told that is the absolute truth. To me, this tale is also a reminder that the familiar stories we know are just parts of a larger one. Other moments before Once Upon a Time and still more follow Happily Ever After. It is a storyteller who decides whether a tale begins and when it ends. And if you look far enough ahead, even a story with a happy ending may reveal itself as a tragedy. And heroes may turn out to be villains. Hopefully the verse is also true.
This is a happy ending. Everything worked out. That design of the little tower and the, lines and the little plant-looking, leaf-looking design around it is so cute.
It is.
I really like it.
Yeah.
I think it would make a good tattoo. If you're looking for a tattoo, that'd make a good one.
Sometimes you see a tattoo on her, you know where it came from.
I mean, I thought it was a happy ending. And
I
then
think
the notes are just like,
well,
maybe not so much. And I'm like,
yeah,
it's kind of true.
It's kind of true, but you can kind of like take it as you will, right? Because unfortunately, no matter what, especially if there's someone who needs to be saving involved, generally speaking, there's going to be tragedy, right? That's just how this works, right?
Right.
Most of the time, we don't really think about the people that have fallen. We think about the happy ending, but it can be said.
Yeah, the princess is happy and she fell in love.
Yeah, it was
love
great.
With her.
Right.
It's all, no, it's not
Well,
as happy as I thought.
It just depends on how you look at it, okay?
True.
Some people just don't, right?
That's true.
So this one's called The Gift of the Moon.
Ooh. Beautiful. The clouds look so pretty. See, this one would make a good tattoo also. Just saying, if you're looking for a tattoo design.
The source is traditional. In a very distant past, much longer ago than anyone can remember, people wondered why nights were so dark in those days. There was only the sun to illuminate the whole world, going around and around the sky. But the sun can only do so much, and half the time, half the world was brightly lit while the other half was cast into darkness.
Ooh. Cast into darkness.
We could accomplish a lot more each day if only we had light all the time, the people reasoned. We would not have to sleep at night or fear monsters in the shadows. They set their minds in finding a solution. At first they tried to slow the sun down on its travels by distracting it with a steady stream of compliments for a while. Is this the same sun that made the guy go blind?
Oh no!
The sun crawled across the sky more slowly as it listened to the other praise. But then someone said, "We can always count on you to rise each morning and setting each evening at the same time." His friend shushed him. But the sun had already heard it and realized that it was far behind schedule. It hurried on its way. By the next morning, the sun was back on course, drooping lower and shining more dimly than usual. Then the people pointed out that the sun worked so hard with long hours, days after day. Didn't we deserve a little rest? Why not stay in one place for a while instead of constantly going around and around the world? They suggested. The sun liked the sound of a break, so it fixed itself a place for a while. I'm trying to picture the sun like fixing a place for itself. While the land below it enjoyed the unending day. There's going to be a consequence of that, I'm sure.
Oh, yeah.
Everywhere else, it was night. Where the sun lingered, it grew sweltering. Crops died, and no one could get any sleep. In the darker parts of the land, it was cold. These crops died too. While people huddled under blankets to stay warm and often fell asleep. In both places, the people resolved to try something else. Perhaps if you move a little faster, the people said. Well rested from its vacation, the sun was agreeable to the idea. It zoomed across the sky faster than it ever had. Faster! The people cried. Faster! The sun moved faster. It moved so fast it was bright lines streaking across the sky, and everywhere it was daylight, but only for a short while. This effort tired the sun out so much, it quickly burned out and crashed onto the earth. Oh no, the people thought, as an unending night settled over the world. We broke it. Realizing that they should not have... They should have... Yeah, no, right?
I mean...
We should have left well enough alone. They were in search of the fallen sun. They found it in a large smoldering valley that had not been there before. Where they found most of it, a large chunk of the sun had shattered, and now the pieces lay all over the land. Everyone helped gather the remnants and pieces of the sun back together. When they put it together the best they could, they hoisted the sun back up into the sky. But the sun was weak now, a shadow of its former self, and it kept shattering fragments kept drifting off to float nearby. Its pale glow barely illuminated the night and brought no warmth at all.
Oh no.
The sun is breaking.
Oh. Yeah.
What's wrong? They cried. Why is your light so dim? The sun explained that when it had broken, much of its light had spilled on the ground below. It could barely hold on to little light was left, which was slowly leaking out and scattering throughout the night sky as stars. The people panicked and grieved and pitied themselves, but they were persistent, and they were clever. They decided they would have to build a replacement sun, and even if they were going to make one, it should be even better and brighter than before.
That does not sound like a good plan.
Interesting how they figure stars came from the sun, like, you know, having that issue. Because before they said the sky was just dark. So fragments of the sun leaking out became stars.
Yeah.
Everyone in the world came together for this massive undertaking. The people gathered all their resources and fashioned a glass orb even larger than the original. They collected all the sun-spilled light and poured it into the orb, which glowed brighter and hotter.
Before everyone and everything around it burned up, they hoisted the sun into the heavens. They fastened one end of the rope around the old sun and the other end around the new sun on the other side of the world so that one moved along the other behind. When the new sun was overhead, it was daylight, and when the shattered sun traveled across the sky, it cast a gentler light that allowed people to sleep or work however they pleased.
Oh, there you go.
We should have thought of this sooner, the people said. The only one happy with this arrangement was the broken sun, which was never as bright as it was before, now had to do twice the work. You're much prettier this way, the people said. We could never look at you properly before because you were too bright. Oh, is this a 2-story? This is a 2-story in one. Oh, no, it's not. I got confused for a second. Don't mind me.
That's really pretty, the art there. Yeah. Do you want to show the last page, too?
I did show the last page.
Oh, before. Okay, you showed that. Okay.
Even though I'm broken, the sun said, it gives you character, they insisted. Besides, now your light has spread all over and made the night sky beautiful.
Yeah.
That's true. Don't worry, we'll always know that the other sun is a fake, they promised. But despite the people's compliments and reassurances, the broken sun never stopped mooning over its golden days when it was alone in the sky and the world had basked in its warmth. And that's
sad.
why we call it the moon today.
Oh, that hit me. I was not expecting that ending to hit me like that.
Ospin's notes.
Did you feel that?
Oh, yeah. You can't put the moon back together is a well-known phrase that usually means something broken cannot be fixed. However, its original meaning is traced back to this age-old fable in this. If something cannot be fixed, you should start over. One interpretation of this story focuses on the fact that the people caused the problem in the first place. But in my view, it is only natural for us to want to bring more light into the world and reach for the sun. And on the brighter side, if you excuse the pun, we never excuse puns, Osmond, a celestial gift from all-the-powerful god of light, but also improved
what she means is we appreciate. She appreciates puns.
Sometimes
KB does.
It through their own ingenuity. Most importantly, they could not have accomplished this magnificent godly feat without uniting for a common purpose in the way they never had before. The world once was divided between day and night, light and darkness, but by coming together and overcoming their inherent jealousy and resentment, people made the darkness just a little bit brighter for all. There is Osmond's afterwards.
Oh, okay.
So this literally will be the end.
Yeah. Oh, that's so pretty.
And now we
the art around the edges of this is just
it's
beautiful.
all from the different stories that we read.
Yes.
And now we find ourselves here at the end. All things come to an end, at least for a time. And this collection is no different. But take heart, dear reader, for life is an ongoing process of renewal, and endings simply make way for fresh beginnings. When you finish a story, turn the page and start a new one. When you close a book, pick up another. Well, of course, you may always read this one again. Why do we return to the same stories over and over? Perhaps we wish to reconnect with who we were when we read them last. People change from moment to moment, from each experience to the next. Each time we revisit a cherished story, we are in fact a different person, and we often change by the act of itself of reading. Change can be unsettling, even frightening, and I believe that too brings us back to old favorites. Many find comfort in this familiarity, in a world full of danger and uncertainty. It can be reassuring to know how a story will end. Those stories that we carry close in our hearts will guide us on our own unfold towards an eventual conclusion.
Feelings.
No one is guaranteed a happy ending, but the tales told about Remnant and its people do hold bittersweet promise. Who we are and what we are is important enough to be remembered and shared. We exist. Our existence means something. Stories will survive longer than all of us, but through them we may continue on. So rather than, and they lived happily ever after, I favor the more honest and hopeful closing. And they lived.
Oh.
Woo! Chills! Okay, that was just chills at the end, Ozpin.
Yeah, that reminds me of the story, the movie Ever After, where they ended with Cinderella had been the one reading it. And, well, was it her, or it was her, like, granddaughter or something?
Something like that.
And she was, like, saying that they did live happily ever after, but the point is that they lived. And ooh, goosebumps.
Yeah, this I got goosebumps too. Okay?
Yeah,
like, I got goosebumps. This was really, really fun to read.
Yeah, all these stories were so unique.
Yeah,
and there's just something so powerful about storytelling.
Yep.
Mm-hmm.
She's gonna watch RWBY.
Don't worry, it's gonna happen.
Maybe.
But yeah, I think it's really cool too because like these are stories. Like some of them, I'm like, okay, that's like kind of similar to what happens in the show.
Oh.
And yet this has nothing to do with it. So it's really cool that like lore building. I really liked it. This was really fun. I really liked reading this a lot. So
yeah,
it was very enjoyable.
Yeah. So thanks to Ash for sending this our way.
Absolutely. Yeah, it was quite a treat.
Yeah.
Yes. Did you have? I know it's been some time. I mean, read this like not all consistently. Is there a story that you could say was your favorite?
I did like the tower story from today. I like the warrior story too, but I think I like the tower story more.
Yeah.
Where the warrior woman is the one I was talking about. Maybe that wasn't
Oh,
clear.
one of the first ones we read. Yeah, that one was really interesting. That was sad.
What about you?
I liked a lot of them. I really don't know if I can pick a favorite.
Oh.
It's like when someone asks my favorite game, I'm like, I don't really have an answer for you. I also really like the tower story, but I really think that, I like the Infinite Man. The Infinite Man really hit a lot of like emotional points, you know, for instance.
That was a deep one.
It was very deep.
What were you going to say? Can I have some of your drink?
You may. So the thing about it is that it hits like so many different feels of the Infinite Men too, and it also had a sad story too because at the end, like he's like, oh, even if I'm gone, you'll carry on with my, the circle or whatever.
Yeah.
And that wasn't to be, and the old woman basically she just like acted like he didn't exist.
Yeah.
So pretty interesting story that was. There's a lot of really good stories. I know your least favorite. I don't know least favorite. I know the one you really didn't like was the Grim Child.
Is that the scary one?
Yes.
Yeah, I'm not a big fan of horror, and that was.
I feel
pretty,
like they did a good job with that one because essentially like you are seeing the perspective of like the bully girl, the older bully sister, and then it turns out that she actually has turned as well, but yet she's not aware of it till the very end. So she still had like her self-awareness and everything like that. Where it seemed like when you got turned, you just didn't have anymore. Like you're just something completely different.
Yeah.
So that was very interesting.
Yeah.
There's a lot of like you can learn from this book actually.
Right. I think storytelling there's just something really like sweet and dear about it. And so many people read bedtime stories to their kids.
Yeah.
And then when we grow up, there are certain things that, like, a lot of people don't share as adults. And I think storytelling is one of those that isn't as often, like, it's not as often that you get read to, right?
It's true.
So I think it's really sweet you reading the stories and everyone gets to be read to, including me.
Yeah.
And there's just something so dear and, like, moving about that.
Yeah, it's fun to read them.
And like the stories themselves, there's just something so like dear and moving about them. Even though like they're not kid stories, right?
No.
And I kind of like that about it.
Yeah.
I like the fact that these are stories for like I would say teen and up, maybe?
Yeah, I would say so.
Teen and
yeah,
up.
not for kiddos. No.
Yeah.
Not little kids.
But it's very much like a fable kind of feel to it. So I thought that was really unique. And like I said, like it's just something really tender, sweet, moving about this kind of story.
Yeah.
And to have ones that are made for an like older than kids group of people to read. Yeah, just special.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So fun. So fun.
Yeah. Anything to add before we wrap up?
Well, I think it was Lizard Kirby had mentioned that they have animated some of these.
Oh,
so it'd be so cool to check them out, just to like
yeah.
see like which ones are animated. Watch actually animated the whole book. Me, what? That would be wild. Okay, so definitely be kind of cool to check that out for sure.
Yeah.
But this is the end of RWBY Remnant stories.
Yeah.
We will be picking up Villainess as soon as we get Volume 2.
Yes.
I am so excited for that because like. We're going to get out of anime territory, right? It's going to be really cool. And, of course, Manaria. So,
And Manaria!
And Manaria!
That's right. All right. Thanks so much for hanging out with us while we read this series of stories. And if you've enjoyed hanging out with us here and like to hang out with us live once a month, join our YouTube channel membership where we do monthly live streams. Look forward to connecting with you again soon, and we will be sending so much love. Till next time.
Laters.